night is the Rangers Journal night.
Good evening and welcome to your Monday night's edition of the Rangers Journal. I'm your host this evening, Tomo. We're going to be here to discuss the win over Hearts yesterday afternoon. The good, the bad and the ugly of it all. I'm joined by three podders tonight. I'll come to you first, Jock. How you doing, Jock? You having a good day, mate?
I'm good, mate. It's good to be here. It's good to see you all.
Excellent. And Ricky, been a little while since we've been on together. How you been keeping?
Yeah, good, Tom, mate. Yeah, had a good day at work today. Still a little bit, confused about yesterday's performance. I really am. It's just, we'll get into it, I know. But yeah, it's good to be here. And I think we've got quite a lot to talk about, haven't we? Considering what we went on yesterday in front of our eyes. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think you summed up well there. Confusing. I don't think you're the only one in that boat, Ricky. And finally, Dino. How you doing, Dino? You keeping well?
Hi, I'm mate. How are you getting on?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, mate. And everyone who's watching, please like and subscribe the channel. Get involved in the comments down below. We'll be bringing up the best ones, and we can have a chat about what people say. So, start it off. I'll come to you, Jock. It's that horrible 12 o'clock on a Sunday game that we never actually seem to play well. But the team was announced, and I would say there was a couple of surprises in there. What was the main take from the team that you saw, and in your opinion, were there any surprises?
As Cammy pointed out in the post in the pre-match pod there on Sunday, it was Lawrence. I think everybody obviously was just kind of like, where's this come from? Didn't expect him to start, maybe get minutes, yes. Don't think he's warranted starting ahead of some of the other players in the team, especially some of the younger players. But then it's a tough. Tynecastle's a tough venue to go to. We all know. See, it's always a favourite ground for former players when they're talking about Tynecastle, the pitch, the atmosphere, the ground. So Lawrence for me was the one that sort of stood out the most. Good to see Nsiala get another run. I thought we'll probably talk about him later on in the pod. Great calm performance from him. And Segaman up front is sort of standard. Hadji left, Dessers or Cherny on the right. What game will come on? I'll keep bringing back to Lawrence because that's the guy for me really that sticks out. I'm sure everybody else will have their opinion on him.
Yeah, Ricky, just coming to you in the starting lineup. Obviously, last week we played against Queen's Park. There was a couple of changes from that team. Suter came back in. Nsiala played yesterday. Were you surprised that maybe Proper wasn't playing, or were you happy to see that centre-back pairing and see what they could come up with?
I think it was always going to be Suter if he's fit to give you that sort of balance on the right-hand side. So you've then got a left-footed player that's going to come in to play alongside him. So you've either got Proper or you've got Nsiala. Proper arguably has actually not been too bad of late, so he might feel a little bit disappointed that he's been dropped. But Nsiala is starting to produce performances on a consistent level. He's a young lad. He's come in from Italy, AC Milan, Frenchman, and he's now starting to settle, and we can see that. So if the boys minute at the jersey, then keep him with the jersey. I think that's the way it should be. Although I do believe Proper will start in the European game, so we do need to probably get Suter and Proper playing together to just get that wee little bit of telepathy, balance, understanding together for what is obviously what we've got left of the season, because everything else is gone now. You know what I mean? So I would like to see Clement getting a team out there, which is going to be the team that he's going to be playing. And I don't care who we're playing against. Let's get some telepathy amongst the players, some continuity, so that we can start helping each other by knowing each other's games. Because at the moment we're all over the place, all over the place, and it's ridiculous this time of the season. The Clement said we would see his team come October. We're now in February, and it's as if we've just started pre-season. It's just disgusting for me, and it's all come on. What is doing on Monday? We can't defend. I'm really angry with it now. And the board are just new to come in, and they've got a clean sheet, I suppose, and they're not getting any grief because they have just come in and they're trying to steady the ship. They've got seemingly from somebody looking at the business model, to see where we can cut this, do this, improve that, and whatever it may be. And we may well see the fruition of that in a couple of months' time. But right now, we are Rangers and we are accepting second best. Disgusting.
You made some fair points there, Ricky, and I think I'd say the majority of the fan base would agree with you. And just coming on to that, Dino, obviously the starting lineup, any takes that you want to give on that, but the game itself, I say we'll get into it a little bit more, but as Ricky rightly said, other than the European ties, it feels like we've got nothing really to play for. When you're tuning in to watch that, what are you expecting to see during the game? Because we get the 3 points, it's what it is. But what are you expecting to see?
I'm expecting every single one of them on the park to go over and above, to make a case for themselves after last weekend and for the rest of this season, and also for them for next season, let's be honest. So you've never seen that at all. I mean, Hearts dominated us from start to finish yesterday, and that boy up front, I don't want to pronounce his name in case I get it wrong, but the centre forward for them, I mean, any other day, he's scoring a hat-trick against us. Let's be honest. And that's due to him being a very good player, but also has been very poor. So you're saying, the centre-half partnership in Siala and Suited and all the rest of it, but that's all fair and well, but we're needing our players to come out and dominate Hearts, not them dominate us after getting embarrassed at Ibrox, the most embarrassing result in the history of the club as far as I'm concerned, and not one of those players really made a case for themselves. And you just, as a fan, you're sitting watching it and you just lose interest because you want to see a reaction from the player, something that you can, really, get behind and, at least give them the benefit of the doubt and, have an emotion towards that, but there was no emotion towards it.
Yeah, no, and really same to you, Jock. When we're coming into these games, what are you expecting to see? What are you wanting to see from this team? I mean, we've seen through comments quite a lot of the fan base really want out. That result last week there's no turning back from that. I don't think anything he does now is going to change people's minds. But it looks like he's going to be here until at least the end of the season. What are you wanting to see from this team between now and the end of the season, beginning of next season?
Same thing you want from any Rangers team. You want a bit of grit, a bit of desire, a bit of hunger. And, I know a part and parcel of that comes from the manager having to instill that into players, but there's still part of that falls on the players' shoulders as well. And it's something that we've seen maybe the last 10-15 minutes against Queen's Park, we're 1-0 down and the panic's setting in. I thought we might see a bit of a reaction, first 10-15 minutes. We started off okay. We got a goal rightly ruled out, but it was a bit, something different, something that we seem to just keep doing. The whole game was that set piece where we take it short, we knock it, cut it back, and then it's whipped in. Because it worked once, we just can't see it over and over again. I thought, I need to change that because they're just going to get wise to that, and that was the case. But back to the point, just the hunger to play for the shirt and just dig in. It's something I think this Rangers team hasn't had for probably since Gerrard's sort of stint, where the team there was a fight there was a grit, there was a steeliness. When we went to places like there, we fought for a victory. We didn't fight for that victory there on Sunday. We were given it, really, weren't we? Poor finishing on their part, and your man deciding to put the ball in his net twice helps us, doesn't it? But I mean, overall, this season the standards hasn't been there, and I know players' forms go up and down, part and parcel of football, but whenever some of the players' form dips, somebody else needs to come back and drag them up. And we haven't really seen that this season. I thought Butland, obviously, he had a good game. One game will probably bring him into later on. You can see his standards are starting to raise again, which is good. And if that can start from the back, it might push what's in front of them onwards and upwards for the last, remainder of games of the season, which, domestically is worth nothing to anybody. It's more about pride now, which I don't think the team's going to do much in terms of pride. But the Europa Leagues is something we have to go all in on now, for me.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned there about our start in the corners. I personally thought we started the game pretty well. We were on the front foot and got that early goal from Suter, he was clearly offside. But Ricky, as Jock said, we just seem to then go back into a shell after that. We don't press on. When we were hitting a little bit of form after sort of New Year, back end of January time, we were essentially playing with two men up front, Egeman and Dessers. We've come away from that. What's your thinking behind that? What do you believe the reason is why we don't, especially last week against Queen's Park, where it's ripe to have two centre forwards on the pitch. Now we've just seemed to gone back to what was causing us issues in the first place.
Well, Queen's Park speaks for itself, really. So on the strength of that, I would have shook the team up personally. I know hindsight's a wonderful thing, but at the moment, we need a right back. Tav, he's gone. He's too easy to play against. So there's no stability down there. We're always sceptical to a mistake or something coming in. Tav cannot defend. And Jeffy, for me, he's just a young Tav now. He's a liability, and he's proven he's not a decent left back. He doesn't offer a lot going forward. He doesn't create. He doesn't score goals. And I think we've got a player there that people are kind of overrating. There is something about him, don't get me wrong, but he's not a great defender for me. I would have started with Ridvan at left back and him a bit further forward, offering the pace down the left-hand side, which we don't have in that park. Hadji is not a winger. I've been saying that he's probably the best player we've got at Ibrox, Hadji. Both feet, intelligent player. Get him playing that number 10 role. He's getting hung out to dry, getting put on that left-hand side. The guy's lost. Get him in the middle of the park. We can use his brain. Let Jeffy play out there. If then get Barron back in that park, at least Barron shouts and screams and nips, wins the ball, doesn't let people run by him. Diomandé's a passenger. He's just pathetic, So for me, that is just so. And Egeman, what's happened to him the past month? He's went from this 20-30 million pound player to just a guy who just seems lost. And this has to come back down to me, to the manager. It's got to be the manager and the coaching staff, because individually there's players there but cannot play together. And that's got to be the management. That's nothing to do with the board. He's got players there and they cannot knit them. And that's shocking management. And it's so obvious now. And everybody's just digging their heels in and sticking by him because of money and this, that, and the next thing. We're a poor outfit because of that manager. And anybody else coming in would get far better out of that team, but the way the team's set up is not good enough. I'm just a punter and I can say that. But I think Diomandé's got to be taken out of that team right now. He's passing the ball out the park. He can't win a ball. He maybe play one good game and then have five dreadful. We're just so easy to play through. I'd rather have Raskin and Barron playing together. We had you in front of that. Is that three? That's how I'd set up for the rest of the season. But that's my opinion.
No, that's fair enough, Ricky. I'm going to come to Diomandé in a little bit, but I felt yesterday, for me, second half especially, he was the one who was looking for the ball, trying to do something different, not just play the ball backwards where it came from. Our second goal came from him being a little bit brave in midfield and getting the ball out wide. But again, we'll touch on that when we get on through the game. Dean, interesting point there about Yilmaz. Ricky's made there. Ever since he's come to the club, there seems to be rumours that he's leaving, and he never seems to. Yet now he's fit. He doesn't seem to get a game. What's your opinion on that? Do you think it's that Jeffrey's been playing well enough to keep him out the side, or what's your take? Why do you think he's not getting a game? And we're not selling him if there's supposed interest.
So his fitness is obviously a massive issue for him and for us. So for potential buyers, it's not a particularly appealing prospect who's somebody that's injured quite a lot. And as Ricky alluded to there, Jeffrey is pretty poor defensively, gets skinned far too easily. A lot of the goals are quite similar that we seem to concede when Jeffrey's involved. And Ridvan is a better defender. So Jeffrey's probably one of the best ball carriers we've got at the club, if not the best ball carrier. So in the attacking phase, so like what Ricky said there, the simple solution to that is play Ridvan at left back, play him until he gets injured, use him, because he is actually a good player. But how long he's going to stay injury free for is the question. But we're coming in near the business end of the season, so I'd just be playing him to then move him on in the summer. It's as simple as that. If he's not playing games, his value's not going to be high. But I think Clement is. I think we're all aware that Clement is incredibly stubborn and arrogant, and staying. And but before he would have pace in the team, he would have Hadji out in the left, who's as I mean, he's a 10 all day long. He's no winger. He's no an inside 10. He's a 10 in the middle of the park. Both feet. The man, I was saying all this when he was bombed out the team, and give us pace on the left hand side. But we're playing Tom Lawrence and Hadji in the same team, who aren't really particularly quick. So in the forward areas of the pitch, we're lacking pace, big time, weren't we? So that's incredibly easy to play against if you've got pace in your team, as far as I'm concerned. And but Ridvan for me, I'd be playing at left back at the moment, and I'd be playing Jeffrey left mid, and I'd be playing Hadji in the 10. That's exactly what I'd be doing until the end of the season, until injuries and suspensions made it not possible to do. But that's Clement's the manager, so we all know that's never going to happen. I mean, let's be honest, it was working with having two up front. He's went back to having the one and having Tom Lawrence, who's slower as a week in the jail, isn't he? So, yeah.
There is a few baffling decisions. I think, Dean. I think that's what you're basically saying, mate. Yeah, totally agree with you. Onto the game, we had that disallowed goal, and then we actually went 1-0 up. Hearts were having a lot of the ball. I don't think at that point we'd really made any chances. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. Our goal actually came from one of the corners. The short corner that went out to Diomande, who's played it back to Cherney. Good run from Hadji, and picked out by Cherney. And he's fired it in at the danger area, and it came off the goalkeeper onto McCart for 1-0. What was your thinking, Jock, at that point? Did you think we were deserving of the leads? And how did you see that goal?
I wouldn't say we would be deserving of the leads, but it's one of those ones where you put the ball into that corridor. Is it corridor uncertainty they call it? It's we get two goals, two own goals, two different situations, but you're still, when you're putting the ball in an area like that, it can go anywhere. And I always rather we drill the ball in low like that than try and cut it back for somebody, especially when the box is stacked, like, so it's a corner. So there's going to be bodies in the box. So I think it's something we'll probably see us do more of, because we got the rub of the green with it. But yeah, I don't think we were at that point where we were lighting the pitch up in any way, shape, or form at that point. I think Hearts then had started to come the game. We hadn't had a shot on target up until I think it was the 37th minute. So to get to 1-0, you obviously you're going to take it when you're not playing well, aren't you?
Definitely. And Ricky, well, we weren't, as I say, playing free-flowing football. In my opinion, at that point, we had some decent moves going forward. There was some good movement from Lawrence, Hadji, Cherney, and Igaman. I think the way Hearts set up really helped us in terms of the attacking phase, and that when their attack broke down, we were able to counter a little bit quickly. What was your thoughts on that first sort of 15, 20 minutes when we went 1-0 up?
Well, I don't think Hearts were sitting in. It's not as if they were parking the bus. Hearts, it was a start at one time, we were 1-0 up. We never had a shot on target. I think they had 7 on target. Butland had made a couple of good saves. It was 7 shots, and I think it was about 3 or 4 on target. But we never had one shot at all at the goal at a particular point, and we're winning 1-0. So their goal was always coming, Tom, and they rightly got the equaliser because they deserved it. The truth be known, but it comes down to the budgets again, Tom. If you look at our budgets, look at our bench, look at our training centre, everything, we should not be getting dominated by Hearts or Hibs or Aberdeen. We just shouldn't be. I know it's a cup final for a lot of these teams, but player for player, they were just probably better than us for the whole 90 minutes. Now, I think as Jock mentioned, that there's always players who are going to be a little bit off it, but you would expect other players to be a little bit dragging them through. So on the balance of play, you would be stronger than them. But man for man, they were better than us. If it wasn't for Jack Button having one of his better games, we'd have lost that game. And that would have been back-to-back defeats, Queen's Park and then Hearts. And if Hearts won that game, none of us could sit here right now and say, we deserve to win or lose that game. Hearts would have certainly be feeling aggrieved that they didn't get in from that game, that's for sure. So for me, that's 2 really, really back-to-back poor performances. And then Clement comes out after the game praising the players for their attitude and the resilience. Okay, he did admit that we didn't play very well, but it was their mental attitude, for staying in the game and running it. Again, that's accepting second best for me. And it's, we're Rangers. We're the phenomenon. That's our club, and we should not be listening and accepting that from that man. It's not good enough. Not from me anyway. It's not good enough.
So just a little bit more on that, really, Dino. I felt we were contributing really to a lot of our downfall in that first half by slack passing, maybe not getting into challenges as quickly as we probably should. In fairness, it looked like some of the players had been out on Saturday night and hadn't got into the early hours, just how lacklustre we were. How did you see the way Hearts were playing against us? And do you think we were being a little bit too sloppy and giving them encouragement, which at their place, they're going to take? We're not going to turn that down.
No, as I said earlier on, we needed to dominate them, and it was the other way around. They smelt blood, but every team will. As far as I'm concerned, from out till the end of the season, domestically anyway, we're there for the taking against anybody. So, and the whole day, you're right. Like some of them were a bit rough. To be fair, that's a good way of looking at it, Tom, because that's exactly how it did come across. And I know it's maybe been something that's not been identified, that the players probably haven't. They're still. It looked like they were still back in the manager. Maybe Sunday was a change in that. Maybe it's something to do with that, I think, as well. It's just my opinion, because it's one thing I think that we've not seen, which I think we all expected the players to maybe kind of do, before the diabolical result week past. But I think players now, that's what I kind of thought yesterday. Are these players finally, down in tools for the manager? That's what I kind of think.
Yeah, so that's an interesting point there, Ricky. I see you want to say something, so I'll just say to you, Ricky, do you think that's a valid point Dean's making? And if it is, then at what point is the onus on the players? This will be the potentially third manager, really, where we've heard this down tools and not playing for the manager. Surely it should just be we're playing for the club, we're playing for the badge that's on our chest. I don't know if that's what you were wanting to pick up on what Dean said, Ricky, or
well, I totally agree with what Dean was saying, but I think what I was trying to say there, Tom, when Canasti came in, is the shape of the team. Now, the defence speaks for itself. You've got two fullbacks who are not playing particularly well at the moment, especially in the defensive part of the game. I think we all know that. You then sort of get Iggyman up top. You've got the two wide boys. As far as this, it was Hadji, which I don't agree you should be playing there. And you get Chen on the right. So you've got that shape there. But the three boys in the middle of the park, what are they playing? So you've got Raskin. Is he holding? Is he going forward? You've got Lawrence, who's meant to be linking things, who hasn't got a clue what he's doing. He's always dropping away. So Iggyman's not getting somebody to play off because he's up on top on his own. And then you've got Diamandi. What is he actually doing? It's very, very easy to play through because there's no structure in the middle of the park. I'll go back to a statement I said earlier on. When Barron and Raskin's playing together, we do it at Ibrox. When you're going away from home, I'd rather have the two pivots so that we don't lose a game. We seem to do it at Ibrox, but we go away from home and we're just leaving Raskin as the one single holding midfielder. And he's getting played through all the time. We made Hearts look good because our midfield wasn't solid enough to combat their forward players. And for me, it's that triangle in the middle of the park. It just isn't working with those three players. It didn't work. And then, as I've said earlier on, Hadji's getting thrown under the bus because he's not a winger, because he's got no pace. He's not slow, but he's not. Get the pace to be your Matondo type guy or Cherny, whatever. But we have got the flexibility within the squad that we've got right now, within the players that we've got right now, to make that team a better team and a more stronger team and a more dynamic fluency going forward. But we need to change one or two of the personnel, as I mentioned earlier on, but he won't do that. And I just think the players are down tools because mentally, I think they know they can be better at what they're doing, but they're getting stifled by this stubbornness of, as I mentioned earlier on, they go into Auchenhowie on a Monday morning. What did they do to Friday? What did they do at training to work on? What did they work on? Because I don't see any continuity, any fluency in that team at the moment, which I just find bizarre with the money it's the budget we have and the facilities we have, and yet we're going, we're performing poorly, just game after game after game, really, and it shouldn't be like that. I think that's what's confusing everybody. We should. But yeah, I think I maybe just dropped out there, sorry about that, Scotty. But yeah, I hope you can still hear me.
Yeah, all good, Ricky, not a problem. Jock, again, just comes your views on it. Do you think the players are, this down in tools, or do you just think it's maybe they're not good enough?
I can't say they're not good enough. I was watching a lot of other stuff online in the last couple of weeks, and it resonates more and more with me, is that we're a moments team. We don't have a team of players. We have a team of players who can produce moments. Cherny's a moments player. Hadji's a moments player. Iggyman's a moments player. I felt sorry for Iggyman Sunday because he kept having to drop deep. He was always on the halfway line to come get the ball. He was getting no service. There was nothing that happened in front of him. Lawrence was supposed to be that bridge between the midfield, him, and going forward. Between spreading it out wide or letting the Egan man run off him, playing the through balls. He got no service at all, so he was dropping in. The more and more we see this Clement play the style that he plays, the more and more you realise it takes one player to do something special, a moment, and a duking past somebody, an overlap. We don't have boys hitting bylines and putting balls in the box, or gone the days of Barisic and Tav overlapping Kent and whoever else we had on the right hand side. Those days are gone now. It's up to the front four to do something, and you might get a Tav assist thrown in there. That's it. It's a Tav ball in the box. Tav does something. Look at Old Trafford. Tav was playing centre back, and he had to do a 40, 50 yard crossfield ball and over the top of the United defence, and we scored a goal from it. Moments. We don't have a style of play where we keep doing the same thing or we keep trying the same thing that forces us down a certain side. We're just either go through the middle and we lose the ball and we recycle it and we come back again. And we're just not getting enough from it. We're not getting enough from these players. Cherny had a stinker against Queen's Park. Have you seen that? And he was on the park for the full game. Didn't do anything at all. If he doesn't produce, we don't get anything from that right hand side. If Hady's on the left hand side, he's not got Yefty overlapping and putting balls into the box, or Ridvan if he's playing. That didn't happen either. So we're going through the middle. We got a soft penalty. Tav didn't have his moment, missed it. Then we're talking about one of the biggest results and embarrassing results in our club's history. Tav again on Saturday. Didn't really do much. That wasn't bad, but wasn't great either. Didn't have any real moments. The best moment that we had on Sunday was Diamandi on the edge of our box when he won the ball. He spun round two players and played the ball, and that set up a counter attack. That was our one moment in that game that we scored from open play. We got two other own goals, and that's how we won 3-1. We're just a moments team, simple as that, and we don't have enough players that are producing moments consistently enough. And that's just where we're at under Clement. He doesn't have this style of play that you can see them across the city are playing, or even Aberdeen when the new manager came in. He had a style of play and he put it into that team and it worked. Granted, it all fell apart for them, which is good for us at the moment, but they had a core system that he brought into them, and they were flying, absolutely flying, until they got the stuffing knocked out of them. We just don't have that at Rangers. Clement's not the manager to bring a style of play. He relies on his best players producing moments, and it's not something these guys are able to do consistently enough to get us wins away from home, which is what's killed us this season. Rant over.
Yeah, go on, Dino. Yeah.
I'm just on that, Jock. Given what Clement came out and said, he thinks that we were the better side, pretty much, and that we were, he's basically, my understanding is of what I think he's implying, that he thinks that we were Hearts, how Hearts played against us, how they were able to tactically create chances against us. They didn't have players that were moments. They actually had a tactics and an ethos yesterday to play against us, which every team does now. Everybody goes like, what does he talk about do on a Monday? Well, Clement basically came out and said how we played yesterday is acceptable. So he's not going to be in Alkenhowie the day and saying that we need to change this. That clearly doesn't happen. I think we can all admit that in the 18 months or near 18 months that Clement's been here. That just does not happen. So he's that blinded by his own arrogance. He's beyond reproach that he thinks that what he's doing is what to do so, and it's not. And you're right, we're a moments team because we have got no way of breaking teams down. We've got no tactics, we've got no setup. We do just hope that we can get the ball to Cherny, who can do this, or a bit of magic from somebody at some point in the game for us to beat the teams in the SPL. So yeah, as long as Clement's here, we're going to see this. And it doesn't actually hold much hope for the next person to come in, because obviously the people that are picking the managers to come in have basically picked 3 managers on the bounce that are kind of playing the same sort of style of football isn't a style, and we have these moments players. It's a great term, Jock. I never actually thought of it like that until you said, but it's so true.
Tomo, I'm just seeing James Glasgow's comment there. He says, in my opinion, it's a bad decision making in the final third is letting us down. He's right. He is right, and that's not just Sunday. That's been the whole season as well. And
I would go even further back. I would say it's been the last 2 or 3 seasons where we are getting into the final third, and I would say creating chances, but not putting them away, or like say bad decision making. It's not a recent thing. It's something that's happened under the last 2 managers prior to Clement. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead if there's more of a point to make, mate.
No, I totally agree with him, and we've seen it again on Sunday there. And Egeman, that's one of my frustrations with the big man is his decision making in the final third can be quite poor, particularly when he gets outside the box. He wants that. He always seems he wants that perfect finish. So he always seems to want to turn and then open his body. Just hit it. You've got the power. We've seen the power, all season. Just boot the ball in the net because you keep more capable of doing it. And then another thing he was doing this was these nutmegs. He loves these nutmegs. Now the first half he kept trying it and he kept losing the ball. When the second half when the game opened up and he had more space, he came onto his game and he, for me, Egeman looked a lot better in the sort of final third of that game. But again, it's across the board from left side to the middle to the right. Just sometimes we get into positions like you say, and if we don't get the shot off quick enough or we pick the wrong pass, we just need to get that side more clinical. And I think we can do that. We will end up these moments. Players will probably end up, their stats will probably skyrocket because they'll end up, they'll start doing what they're flipping paid to do, which is score goals, isn't it?
So that's a good point there, and good point by the chap who James who commented there. Totally 100% agree with you. So into the second half, Ricky, no change. I don't think there was any changes at half time. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. It was pretty much the same. Hearts started off quickly and got an early goal from a corner. From what I noticed on that corner, first of all, nobody was marking the fella that actually scored the goal. I think it might have been Suter who was supposed to be marking him. Again, I could be wrong, but he was in acres of space. I think it was this zonal marking that seems to be the in thing now. And I've watched football for many years, and space has never scored a goal. So this zonal marking, maybe I'm just not up to date with football, and I'm a bit of a dinosaur. But should players just be getting closer to the man there, Ricky? I mean, let's not take anything away. It was a fantastic ball in from the left back, Henrice, I think he's called, who had a decent game. But it was expected. Really, Hearts were putting under pressure, weren't they, Ricky?
Yeah, and he deserved a goal, and the boy did take a header well. And by the time the boy made contact with the head, Suter was at least a metre behind him, running to the same ball, but the boy was in front of him. But for me, if you're going to be zonal marking, it's the guy that's in front of Suter that should be probably attacking that ball, because that ball was fizzed in. It never came into any great height. It was fizzed in, so where Suter wasn't quick going to get to the player because Penrice got there first, the guy who, if they are zonal marking, whoever it was, Ciala, I'm not too sure, that's the person that should be getting looked at, should have met that ball, or should be the one that should be challenging that. But whether you're going to do zonal marking, there's a lot of teams out there who do it, but you've got to practice it, you've got to be disciplined. And all about zonal marking is the fact that you can then attack the 3-4 metres in front of you. That's your area. Nothing gets past that. That is your area. If all get 4 metres in front of you, that's what zonal marking is all about. And if you're not drilled enough Monday to Friday to do that type of, then cut it out. Go man for man, because there's lots of big clubs still do man for man. So whatever your tactic, whatever your coaching staff want you to do, you've got to be drilled in it. And at this moment in time, we cannot defend. And it's not really through lack of height. You know, whether it's proper Ciala, Suter, you know, we've got enough height there. The boy Fernandez, I know he only came on for a cameo 1 minute at the back end of the game. He's got a lot of height as well, but again, it comes down to the Monday during the week, what they're actually training for, you know, getting ready for the game on the Saturday, because I don't see... I've seen myself playing a good standard of football in my day and practicing and carrying out game plans, which the manager's done, you know, at a couple of training sessions we've had during the week before the game on the Saturday, and it's worked a treat. Why can't it happen at Rangers? You know, we are very, very poor at defending corners and set plays, and it needs to, you know, if we got a set piece guy at Ibrox, I'm not sure. You know, it's all this confusion about what are we paying these boys to deliver, you know, for our team on a Saturday, you know.
I mean, just on that, I think, again, someone correct me if I'm wrong, I think we might have got someone in recently, but has when we're attacking corners, there's certainly been a bit more variation the last sort of month or so. Again, whether that's because we got someone in or whether it's just there's been a bit of a light bulb moment that we needed to do something different. I've just brought up a comment from Dado Perso Blue Boots, blaming Tav or having a go at Tab there. Now, I know he's got his detractors, but I think it's harsh having a go at him for the goal we conceded. I think he was further at the back post and wasn't his ball to meet. So, got to say, I've got to disagree with you on that one, Dado. So, yeah. So, at 1-1, sort of looking like, you know, where are we going now? We're going to obviously probably go on, concede a second and just collapse. But it went the other way, really. We went up the pitch and scored, and I'll come to you, Dino. I didn't think it at the time, but there seemed to be a little bit of controversy just before we scored where the ball's been put in our box. Nisiala's had a bit of a coming to with the Hearts forward, and we've got the ball and gone up the pitch. Certain people are saying it was a penalty. First of all, before we discuss the goal, what was your initial thoughts on that?
Because it obviously happened relatively fast, I didn't pay too much attention to what happened in our box. Didn't think anything of it, to be quite honest with you. But then looking at the replays, we've seen them given against us. So I wouldn't have been I wouldn't have been too surprised if the referee did blow the whistle and change the outcome because of VAR. So it was one of them. I think there's definitely room for an argument on both sides to that. I'll be honest with you. As I said, it's happened to ourselves. So going on the sort of decisions that have been given against us in the past, there's definitely room for argument for it. And you know, I wouldn't have been surprised if it was given for them to want to, you know, appear to be consistent, to say the least. So, but the goal, good goal, wasn't it? Very good goal. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Aye. Cherny's got that in him all day long, isn't he? Nice wee finish, wasn't it? So yeah, happy with his goal and happy with the way that the team played to score the goal.
Yeah, and it was in my opinion, Jock, it was a really good piece of football. We got the ball down. I said Diomande has sort of gone between two players, got it out to Lawrence, who's played a good ball in Egeman, and his shot's been blocked and Journey's ball. And again, for how close Craig Gordon was to him, I thought it was a really good finish. What was your thoughts on the goal?
Yeah, it's well taken. Tierney does what more often than he normally does when he's a chance like that. He puts it away. I still keep referring back to Diomande in the phase of play. It's him that wins the ball. It's him that does. He has to beat two players. He uses his slight, his frame quite well. Jinks a couple, and then he plays the ball through. Lawrence picks out the good pass. Egeman's unlucky. The shot's blocked, and it just falls to him. puts it away. Probably, at that point, I thought that's when we sort of come into the game a bit more. The game opened up a bit more because obviously Hearts were starting to press and push. Obviously being the home team, and then obviously going the goal down, that changed the game in our favour. I thought the second half was far better than what we've seen the first half. We had started to create more moments. Dessers obviously comes on as well. Egeman, I thought, came into a game as well because he was dropping, he was getting the ball more. He wasn't sort of as isolated. If that makes sense, he isolated by maybe 2 or 3 on him because that seems to be how teams set up against him now. If the service isn't getting to him, he drops deep to look for the ball because it's only natural. He wants to be involved in the game. It's just in him. He doesn't have that discipline yet. He's not like a veteran striker that knows just to sit up there and just wait and bide his time. He's young, he's enthusiastic, he's energetic, so he's wanting to drop, and that probably is a bit of a hindrance to the team in some aspects, especially if you want to get out quick. We need that sort of focal point up front. So he's still sort of like learning his trade that way as a lone striker. But yeah, back to the goal. The goal was well taken. It's one of our good moments that we have as a team, and it sets us on our way really for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and just before I move on, Ricky, have you got any thoughts on the goal?
Well, I think it go well, but let's not be. We get a fortunate ricochet. When the shot was blocked, it felt like it turned his path, albeit he took it well. I mean, we got away with one there, and you consider it could have been a penalty for them. Not 30 seconds before. I don't personally think it was a penalty. I don't even think it was any kerfuffle at all. It was only after the game where they started speaking about this penalty. I'm thinking, well, what penalty? And even on replays, I think it'd be very, very soft if we're going to give that. Anyway, sort of the sports scene crew, they both, agree that it was never a penalty as well. So, if Chris Sutton to say it's not a penalty, then it's got to be that way. Because if it was anything at all going against us on Sky Sports, Sutton would have been saying it was a penalty. But he actually, in his own opinion, said no, it wasn't a penalty. So that was the first I'd heard that they were looking for one. So yeah, I mean the goal 2-1, and Jock's probably right at that particular point. The game is pretty even. Then both teams could have, if they take their chances, probably could have got another goal. As it happened, we went on and get another on goal with their big centre half again, and the game kind of fizzled out after that. Listen. We didn't play well. We won the game 3-1, and me in particular sitting here moaning and whinging. But I'm moaning and whinging purely because we could be a lot better. I would say that the structure of the team is too flat, and we've got personnel in that squad that could make that team a lot more interesting, a lot more forward thinking. Jeffy being a perfect example for me on the left side of midfield, giving us a pace down that side. With Ed Van coming in at left back, even overlapping. The two have played together before, and they've played well together. Whether it's going to be Dessers or Egeman up top, whoever's playing that 10, and I'm pleased, it's got to be Hadji, but they've got to play alongside them. Lawrence is just disappearing out of the game. Maybe to try and pick the ball up, because he's a clever player, Lawrence, but it just isolates Egeman, whether that's Dessers or Egeman. That 10 guy has got to be there linking the play. Cherny speaks for himself. He's going to keep that shirt because even as Jock says, in the moments, because Cherny doesn't give you 90 minutes of brilliance. He'll give you moments, as Jock's been referring to, but he can afford to lose the ball up the park because he should have a midfield and a defence that can maybe hopefully ratify any mistake that the forward players make. So I don't mind forward players making mistakes, because unless they take things on, they'll never get any sort of outcomes or positives from what they're trying to do. But the middle of the park for me, that final third, it's got to come from that number 10 going forward. And I'm not trying to slate Diomande Jock, but if Diomande is going to be the man that's going to be playing in the middle of that park, give him a role to play, because at the moment I just don't see any fluency in there at all, whether it's Lawrence, but there isn't any, at least if there was two pivots with Barron and Raskin, and then a number 10 in front of him, you've got fluency, you've got a structure there. They know what they're doing. At the moment, I never saw anything at all, and it worried me against Hearts because we were just far too easy to play through because the guys in the middle of the park never knew what they were doing. And I'm not blaming the players. I just think it's the way they're set up, in my opinion.
Okay. Very sort of a positive substitution, I would say. Lawrence got removed and Dessers came on. Maybe we might have expected a defender or another midfielder to come on to shore things up and just try and hold on to that win. Dean, Dessers certainly made a difference when he came on. He's running the channels, running in behind, giving us that more of an out ball. He certainly seems to be better when he's got someone up alongside him. He contributed to what was the own goal, his presence there, and then he had one disallowed where he was offside, but again, it was a nice run and nice finish. What did you make of Dessers? He's a very up and down player, but what did you make of him yesterday?
He came on and made a difference instantaneously, didn't he? So happy to see him come in and have that impact. But yeah, come back to what you said, definitely plays better with somebody next to him. But unfortunately, that's not going to be a consistent thing because Clermont's clearly doesn't like to have two up top a consistent thing. So he's definitely better with somebody next to him. That's for sure. And it's good to see somebody come in and run the channels and force the defender into making mistakes. So at the end of the day, if he can't score, he's forcing a mistake that gets a goal. So and as you're right, I was offside, but good finish nonetheless. So I'm happy to see him make an impact.
Yeah, and Jock, just really lastly on the game, Hearts had a couple of half chances towards the end. Nothing major to worry about. I think there was one from a corner that dropped to the guy that he's put wide, and we've obviously held on for the win. The only disappointment for me was when we had an attack, good ball was put in, and Jamie McCart pulled his leg away and didn't, have that desire to get his hat trick. That was the only disappointment of the game, really, in the closing minutes. But just Jock coming to one of our players, Jack Butland. He's been in, he's had a fair bit of criticism this season, and in my opinion, rightly so. What was your thoughts on him yesterday? In my opinion, apart from one mistake, which he then rectified with a brilliant fingertip save, I thought he was excellent, and hopefully that'll be a bit of a springboard for him. But what was your thoughts on him?
Yeah, that's it. I think it's been a long time coming, a performance like that from him. He's had a couple of howlers that you'll know, a couple of high profile ones that you'll obviously not want to see back. At the season end review, no doubt. But yeah, we need Rangers traditionally have always had a solid goalkeeper. I've always had somebody that leads from the back. And we thought we had that when he came in, and it looked to be that when he came in. And then he's had a tough 8 to 10 months, but then so's the team. It's been a collective thing. And as I highlight those mistakes, but he pulled himself up there on Sunday, I think, led from the back with the mistakes, owned the mistake that he created himself with the save, and then obviously you've seen him apologising, and then it was good to see him come out and do the press conference after it, because I think he always speaks very well, and he's never one to sort of shy away from a bad result or when the team's not playing well. He'll put himself in front of the camera and take the take the fans' flack and the the press's questions on it. I do think he's somebody that we should be looking to try and encourage more and push on in his Rangers career. Potentially a potential captain. I think he just has that that sort of steeliness about him. And obviously he's had that injury as well. That was a quite worrying injury they had where he had to go to the hospital. We didn't quite know what was going on. Bound to be scary for him as well, especially a young family and that. So all we want to see is Jack Butland performing well and not having to make too many saves like he did at the weekend.
Yeah. No, 100%. Ricky, I've just brought up a comment here from Scott05 saying, better quality team wouldn't have given Butland a chance to save. Do you think that's just very quickly? Do you think that's doing a bit of a disservice to Butland?
No, I think what he's saying is if the opposition had better finishers, they wouldn't have saved them because they'd buried the chances. I think that's what Scott's trying to say there, and he's probably is right. And listen, Butland is a good goalkeeper, but he's got his moments the same as any other goalkeeper has. If I could get Jack Butland to do one thing better that we've always had, is I would love him to dominate his 18-yard box. He's a big boy, but he doesn't do that. That's the one thing that I think made him sort of lose his sort of England spot when he was playing with Stoke City. I think keepers came along who started to dominate, and obviously they're better with the ball at their feet. But listen, he had a good game, and he has had good games for us, and he's a good goalkeeper. He's just at times I think the confidence might not be there because defensively we've been a lot better as a team than what we are at the moment. And if your defence isn't sort of doing their bit and it's always coming back to you, you're going to get found out. And then when you do get found out, your confidence takes a battering, and then it's a rollerball effect, isn't it? You start getting a couple of clean sheets, and all of a sudden you go through 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 clean sheets. We've seen this time and time again with Rangers, but it's when the back five, and I include the goalkeeper there, are playing well together. We've not had that all season. So as Jock said there, that's a collective issue. It's not just Butland. And he played very, very well on Sunday, and due to him, we get the 3 points. So well done, Jack Butland, for Sunday's performance. Yeah.
Going to come up to the time to sort of wrap up now. It's been nearly an hour. There's been some good discussions. Dino, anything you want to sort of add before we finish up? Anything burning you that you want to get off your chest?
Well, just going back onto the Butland point there. So if we're playing against better finishers, but we're playing against Hearts in the SPL, so that's what we've got to. That's what we have to play against. So at the end of the day, if he's making saves against them and get man of the match, I'm all for it, and I think it'll be a massive confidence boost for him, because when he first did come in, like Ricky said, he did command his 18-yard box. I mean, he was coming out and getting crosses like he was Chris Woods, So I want to see him, like what Ricky said. I'm just echoing really what Ricky said, but I'm thinking the exact same. I want to see him back doing that, and then that'll a solid foundation, breathes confidence into the defence. And I always remember I think Gough and going on about the tripod between the centre half and the goalie, and like the faith and belief that they have in their goalkeeper makes them stronger and better defenders. So Jack Butland having performances like that is only going to bed well into the centre halves as far as I'm concerned, and hopefully that just kicks him on, and he then gets back to being the levels that we know that he's capable of. That's again, that's maybe just echoing what Ricky said, but I just wanted to say my bit.
No. No, you're totally right. I totally agree with you as well, Dean. Again, thank you for coming on and contributing. It's been, been a good chat. Jock, just before we finish up, you got any final thoughts?
Didn't perform well on Sunday, but came away with the win. It's not often that happens. I did think we'd get a better reaction after the disappointing the week before. Didn't really see much of that, really, if I'm being honest. But it's Hearts away. Tynecastle is always going to be a tough game, and you need your players to sort of be up for it. And I suppose they did see it out with what they had. We've got a tough couple of fixtures coming up. It's not going to get easier on them, so hopefully this is the start of some sort of run, because all we can do at the moment is try and put in a good run of performances and try and claw back some pride and some points on the board, really.
Yeah, totally 100% agree with you, Jock. And again, thank you for coming on this evening and contributing. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Finally, Ricky, any final thoughts before we finish up, mate?
Nah, I've kind of had a good win, Joe, mate. I've kind of covered all my kind of points. But the good thing is 3 points. Didn't play very well. We're picking holes, and we're probably, in hindsight, good at that, aren't we? We just want what's best for our club, Tom, and just at the moment, it's just not good enough. I think we could be a lot better, even with this manager, just with tweaking 1 or 2 players. And I think that's what's frustrating for me. But listen, I'm just a punter. I'm not the manager of Rangers Football Club, so I'll always support my team. You know what I mean? I just think at the moment we could be a lot better. We want to be better, so it's just disappointing. But thanks for tonight, guys. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was good. Thanks.
No, always a pleasure having you on, Ricky. And I think you echo a lot of people's sentiments. Really, we just want to be better and see us be successful. And until that happens, we are going to have a moan and a whinge. Obviously, just before coming on, I've seen on social media that unfortunately a Hearts fan passed away at the game after taking ill. So from everyone at the Journal, our thoughts are with that person's family. So thank you to everyone for coming on this evening, everyone in the comments for contributing. You guys make the show. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe on YouTube. We're on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it these days. We're on TikTok. Please like and subscribe to all these platforms. I think we'll be back again on Wednesday with another podcast. And just remember, every night is a Rangers Journal night. Thank you.